and welcome to another episode of Houston Moms on the Move. So, if you've tuned in before, you're probably expecting your lovely normal host, Meagan Clanahan, co-owner of Houston Moms, to be steering this ship. But we have the privilege of placing her in the hot seat today. And so you have me, Jessica Wyble, Houston Moms contributor. Joining Meagan is another familiar face from the channel, Brandi Smith, who up until this point has collaborated a lot with Houston Moms, but now bears the exciting new title of co-owner as well. So welcome, ladies. I'm excited to chat.
Thank you.
Thank you. So fun. And it's a little nerve-wracking to be on the other side, but I'm excited.
I
100% not used to this part.
You guys are going to do great. Total 100% naturals. I believe in you. It's all going to be fun. Really, Houston Moms on the Move was started to sort of highlight moms around the Houston area who are making moves in their family lives, in their communities, in their careers. We thought we'd mix it up a bit today with all the changes happening with Houston Moms and talk about all the moves that these ladies are helping make on this front for all of our viewers and followers. So really to get us started, Meagan, you kind of, and when I think of Houston Moms, I think of you. You're sort of the history keeper here. Can you talk a little bit about your evolution with the channel and, where we are now?
For sure. And I want to say right off the bat, Jessica, thank you so much for doing this. Number one. Number two, Jessica will be modest about this, but she actually named this programming. We were brainstorming on names, and she's kind of a wordsmith genius and came up with Moms on the Move. And so that's entirely how this thing was kind of like born from names. So I won't embarrass you too much, but I do want to recognize your contribution to that. Yeah. So I'm Meagan Clanahan. I'm co-owner. I have been a part of Houston Moms since 2014. So for those of you who can do math, I'm not great at it, about 11 years. I have been a writer, contributor, then a project coordinator, and then in 2018, um, our previous owner decided to move, and obviously it didn't make sense for her to continue in Houston and running this thing. And so I bought it with my partner, Jared King, who is our dad on the move in town. And we have been doing this thing since, yeah, about 2018, during the full ownership role and whatnot. So that's kind of a little bit of history of what I've done. But yes, I've seen us kind of start, grow, and continue to grow, and then just try to, maneuver all of the fun things that is social media and content. So
Well, that's where my brain first went, right? 2014, social media was a whole different world then, right? You didn't even have half of the channels we have now. And the fact that you've been in these various roles throughout all of that, like, Houston Moms inside and out, right? What it takes to wear each hat.
yeah.
Um, and if I remember right, you met Brandi actually through Houston Moms. Is that correct?
That is how we met. So when we took over this platform in 2018, I had never really done any sort of TV spots and things like that. My very first TV spot was called out to KHOU. They were still in a temporary building because of Hurricane Harvey floods. And I had no idea who I was going to be taping with that day or doing or what I was actually doing. They just told me to talk summer camps. And I just showed up, 45-minute drive because I live out of town. And I got to meet Brandi, and she was the person who hosted me for that spot, gently, kindly walked me through it because it was my first time. And that's how we initially met. And then probably like 6 months later, we were doing a charity event game and for Reliant, and we got to play some football. Brandy and I were the only two media people, two media women, I would say,
Mhm.
um, amongst a team of boys. Brandy took of football to the head. It is the most classic picture I've ever seen. And she just didn't even skip a beat. And I'm like,
I thought I had it. There's a picture
yes.
and my hands are clasped like I had it and the football is hitting me.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I had
Goodness.
it.
And from then on, like I think that the rest of that evening we kept chatting and just kind of had like, kind of not fell in love, but like we had like a mutual admiration for each other, and it was just a really fun night. So when I think back, I'm like, I just think the football, and then just chatting as we continued the media event. So that's kind of how we met. Yes, so
Yeah.
directly through Houston Moms.
That's so awesome. And it really, when you're talking about full circle, it like brings you all back full circle, right? Because what brought you together is what's keeping you together going forward in these next steps. And really so much of y'all's relationship, talking about, bonding as being women in the media, that's what Houston Moms is all about, right? Like being there for each other, having each other's back through the trenches of this journey of parenting, right? And so it's just admirable to see. And man, Brandi, to think, like, I bet, like, in that moment, you did probably think you were catching it. And it's okay. One ball dropped, another 1,000 caught, right? In a metaphorical sense.
There you go.
Um, yes, exactly. Like, but so Brandi, talk to us a little bit about you. You aren't from Houston originally, but I feel like you could probably hold your own better than a lot of the natives here.
Well, those are strong words. I don't know about that. The whole I got here as fast as I could line applies here, but I grew up in Southern Oregon, in a town of 112. My kids like to remind me that I am technically a villager because the town of Umpqua qualifies as a village. And I always had an interest in asking questions and learning more. My parents pushed me toward like yearbook in middle school, and that started my journey in journalism. So I went to community college in my hometown, then the University of Oregon, and then bebopped around as you do in TV news from Eugene to Boise to Portland, back to Eugene, down to Houston, to Beaumont, back to Houston. And Houston just got in my soul. We plan to stay here for maybe a couple years and move on. And I don't know that there's anywhere else I would rather be. So yeah, I'm bringing kind of that journalism background, writing, storytelling background, a lot of video production, hopefully to the team at Houston Moms.
Love that. And, followers have probably seen your face already across the channel. You've already been bringing a lot of that over the last year or so, I think, doing more of the video work here. What are you most excited about in this new chapter?
So much, so much. But I think what has been really cool since I've gotten to know Meagan and getting to know Houston Moms is what a resource it's been for me. My girls are on the older end. They're 18 and 19. So I have one in college, one headed to college. But still, there's so much wisdom in everything that is written on Houston Moms. There's so much heart. And so when I needed something or needed to go somewhere or like even looking at parks to explore with kids, like just any kind of resource you could imagine is available there. And it's amazing to me that I'll get to be a part of building that even more, maybe sharing more videos. That's one of the things we'd really like to do because there's always so much going on visually in the city of Houston, and beyond. So, gosh, I just think that's it. Like there's already such a great impact being made by Houston Moms, and so I'm excited to help in any way I can.
I love that. Meagan, what about you? Now that you've seen the evolution for more than a decade, which is crazy to say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thanks
great.
for
But
aging me,
no,
Jess.
it's not an
Thank you.
aging, it's wisdom, right? What are you excited about?
I think I am excited for just a new voice. As we talked about, I have done this for a very long time. And I think when you do stuff for a really long time, it's easy to get sort of like tunneled into what you like. This is how it's always been done. I kind of feel like, maybe I'm not as attuned to like the hip things that we could be doing. And I always think it's really important when you reach that point in your workforce that you bring in fresh new voices because number one, they amplify your content that's already out there and they just make it really exciting. But they also bring on this like emotional aspect of excitement, right? So where she's so excited. We had a meeting yesterday, and I can't tell you how many emails and Slacks and things that we sent. And I was like, not every day is going to be like today, but this is when stuff is firing. This is when the excitement is happening. It got me to write a new post that I had been sitting on. And so I think that's what I'm most looking forward to is having kind of, and then somebody who's better at stuff than me. I very much recognize where I have limits or personal, like just personal dislikes of what I do and do not want to do. And Brandy kind of complements all of the things that I would prefer not to do. Um, and then I do kind of the things that she would like to not do. So it's just like a really good merriment. And I have to say, because I do think it's important to say, we have obviously been very close friends for gosh. Well, since we had dinner after 2018, we went to dinner one night, and I don't think you always have this where it feels like lightning in a bottle, where you just feel that camaraderie. On paper, we're massively different people. Um, but for whatever reason,
Geographically, we are massively different people.
like, yes. So our friendship has 100% taken effort because Brandy lives in the hip section and I am like a suburb girl. So anytime we get together, it's an effort on both of our parts to do so, whether we're meeting halfway or she's driving here or I'm driving there. Um, but my biggest fear in this whole thing has been like making sure that we preserve that and kind of bringing her on as a contributor at first. Uh, it was like, can we still go out to dinner and have double dates and not talk about work? Like, will that work? Because I don't want to lose my friend in this whole thing. And we were able to figure out pretty quickly that we could separate all of this or pivot real quick back to, kind of who we are. And so I've seen professional Brandy now, and I have my best friend Brandy over here. And I've never felt more confident that I think um, that this is going to work nothing but beautifully. So I'm so excited. I just had to say that. I think people get nervous going into business with your friends. I think that's like a wise sage thing that you should flesh out and make sure that it's going to work. And we've done the work on both of our sides. This has been a long time coming. This has been in the works for at least 6 months. So we're excited.
I think it just added more communication channels for us because we have a text thread going at all times, an Instagram chat going at all times, Facebook chat going, and now we've added Slack and email. So it's just
Yes.
more ways to communicate.
And they
I
all
love
have
it.
a separate purpose. So
They do.
like there's more of like there's a one or two that are like more work ones, and then there's one that like kind of like slides into like personal and work, and then there's one is like strictly personal, and it helps keep us straight, I think. I don't know, but I appreciate the person who can handle 5 social channels with me.
Yeah, that's great. I think y'all's energies balance, right? I mean, the fact that y'all can do what the other doesn't enjoy doing and adding all those communication channels, it's great. Houston's going to be better for it, right?
Yeah.
And Meagan, you mentioned the location difference and how Brandi is in the hip side. So I wanted to take a time, Brandi, to ask you, part of Houston Moms on the Move, Meagan always makes a point to ask our guests, some of their favorite spots around town, sort of a rapid fire.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
favorite place for this. Meagan, do we have time for that? You good with we pick Brandy's
Sure.
brain? Yeah. All right. Okay, Brandi, no pressure, but what is your favorite family-friendly restaurant in Houston?
So it depends on the age of the kids. We have friends with young kids, and we really like to go to Crisp because they have a little area where the kids can run around. If the kids are a little bit older, I love St. Arnold for everything because one, it's like next door, and two, great food. There's space for kids to run. It's just a cool vibe. You can see downtown. So those are and or there.
I love it. See, spanning all the generations. What's your favorite meal to cook that everyone loves? And I don't know much about you, Brandi, so I don't know if you cook.
This is a fairly recent development. I'm very proud of myself. And the cook, Meagan knows, Meagan's been on this journey. When I moved to Houston, I did not cook. I had like a few recipes that my mom had shared with me, and those are still probably the favorites. Like uh, my mom, my mom's stroganoff. That was her mom's stroganoff. Always a hit. Every kid will eat it. And then we also make something called Frito pie, which is not just chili on Fritos. It's like chili adjacent, has like kidney beans and stuff in it. I don't, but that's now, those two recipes have been passed down to my daughter who's living on her own. She just moved into her own house for her sophomore year of college with some friends. So those are the recipes that have always been popular and everyone will sit down to eat. And they get better the longer they're in the fridge. I mean, not past a couple of days, but you let
Yeah,
it sit overnight, those recipes are amazing.
leftover win. And I'm glad you said chili adjacent because if it has beans in it, right, like Texans will fight you that it's not chili. So the good thing picking up on that.
I've learned. Yes.
Yes, yes. You might have a couple answers for this as well. Where is your favorite Houston place to take your kiddo?
Oh, okay. Well, they're two very different children. My oldest has always said the Houston Museum of Natural Science is her happy place. So whenever she comes home to visit, she wants to go there. And usually it's to look through like the gemstones, because who doesn't want to look at like Fabergé and beautiful crowns and jewelry? That's like very much her vibe. My younger one, it's so hard to say because she's the one sleeping upstairs, so she can't even hear me right now. But it changes by the month, like what her attitude is. But anything artsy, she likes the Museum of Fine Arts. Um, she's big on walks and parks. So Buffalo Bayou is an easy one there. Um, there's just so many that float around in my head at all times because back when I was at KHU 11, I did a segment called Hidden Gems. So I got to explore all of these incredible places. So it really, when I'm like talking to Kai about what she wants to do, it's taking the characteristics she's looking for, and then I sort of do a mental checklist like comparison, and we zone in on the one that I think would be a good fit. Same with visitors who come to town. But Houston is so full of so many incredible places that we don't explore because we get stuck in our little nook. Because Houston has been great in that way. Like where you live is probably pretty close to where you work, which is pretty close to where your kids go to school, which is right by the grocery store. So why would you ever want to leave? And there are probably plenty of cool things to check out in your little neighborhood. But there's so in Cypress all the way up to like Huntsville, down to Galveston, Angleton. This whole area is loaded with places you would just never think about visiting, but you should. That was a really long answer to that question.
No, I love it. And actually, I have a friend who used to live here and she's moved and she'll be like, "Oh, have you checked out this? Have you done that?" I'm like, "No, I don't have any time to actually just be a tourist here." But whenever we get free moments, it's like, let's branch out of our bubble because we are fortunate to have all these other nooks and crannies to explore.
Truly.
Um,
And I will add
So,
on to that, that
yeah.
like Brandy is the one who, like, when you hear her talk about Houston, she actually, this is like her passion. She loves Houston. And I never thought about the Houston skyline, like, at all.
she's so
Until
pretty.
Brandy was like, no, I'm going to let you say it was pretty. Like, until she, like, one day was like, I love our Houston skyline. I don't know why people dog on our Houston skyline. So now, by the way, friend, anytime I drive into town, especially if we're on the way to the Astros game, I take a picture as we go by Memorial Park and I say, that's my city, that's my Houston. And it is so pretty, like especially on like a cold, crisp, spring day or like an early fall day. No, she is so pretty. On the backside of, well, I can't Dyken. I'm still trying to get it into my head that it's Dyken Park. But yes, no, we are pretty. But you have inspired that in me. Because I'm one of those who admittedly gets caught in my little bubble that has everything I need in like a 2 mile square radius.
But
Just
there's a reason
efficient.
for that, right? Like I have a girlfriend who just moved to town and I was actually going around to get some video for Houston Moms last night. And so I thought, oh, this is a perfect opportunity for me to kind of show you some different places. So she lives by Central Market. I picked her up. We went over to the water wall, which is a cool spot. And then it took us an hour to get from the water wall to the Arboretum, which doesn't make sense because they're a mile apart. But it does make sense if you know traffic around 610 in the Galleria
Yeah.
time of day. So I understand the limitations, like why people don't do it as often. We ended up cutting our to-do list way short because then we went to the beer can house, Lost Lake, Buffalo Bayou Park, and then I had to call it because then I was also going to take her to Smither Park, to McGregor Park, to Herman Park, drive through Rice, and then Levy Park. Like that was my to-do list. And very quickly, I tightened it to just what we hit. But that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
so you could do all those things on a Saturday and maybe not run into that traffic. Sorry, I'm just going to keep evangelizing how amazing Houston is.
No, I
Yeah,
think it's making me think we need a post for that field trip with Brandy. And you can take us on a little field trip.
I love it. Yes.
The
No, I
party
mean,
bus.
yeah, right. That would be great. And I mean, you truly do have this passion. I've lived here my whole life, and I mean, I've always loved this city. Like, especially, I had a little stint down south of Houston, and I would go and I'd bump that H-Town rap anytime, like I was just needing some extra pride, so I love Houston through and through, and to see somebody else like just beaming about it, like, yes, like share that joy. We need that.
Yeah.
Um, and Smither Park, you saying that, I haven't been there in a couple years, and I love it. So yeah,
It's just
definitely.
grown.
Yeah, all amazing. All right. So when you're not taking people around town and when you're not momming it up, and doing all the other things you do, what's your favorite thing to do on your own time? Like if Brandy ever gets a moment to herself.
I am sleeping. I love bed. Bed is the greatest thing that ever happened. I don't spend nearly as much time with it as I would like to, but that's my partner will tell you, like hands down. That or this couch. And it's sort of an evolution from upright to once I hit
This,
about there, it's game over.
this little
Um,
progression. I love it.
yeah, but
That is the one thing we have in common is that we both very much value our sleep and our nap times. And it doesn't matter what time it is, like it makes sense to us. We are going to take the nap. Um, and she will also probably tell you that she'll put on a mask or like five at the same time as nap time or sleepy time,
yes,
right?
it should not be taken as a recommendation for anyone to do because I'm pretty sure I have destroyed my skin in this process, but it's satisfying is that I do like 5 masks. I do a mud mask and then I do a peel off mask and then I do another mud mask and another peel off mask because I feel like I'm starting fresh at that point. Like I have ripped off 2 weeks of new skin. Uh, and then I do like a nice sheet mask to like apologize. Like, sorry.
I love this. Like I feel like there needs to be a post on that.
No, because I think it's like there would be a lawsuit because I'm pretty sure I'm like breaking my skin barrier or something. Like my kids are like, you can't do that to your skin. Like, well,
Well, your skin looks fabulous, so it's not. I'm no dermatologist,
Oh, I'll
but
have
I
what she's
cannot recommend
having.
it.
This is just a little curveball since you both have the love for taking naps and bedtime. Who's a morning person? Who's a night owl? Like, where do y'all fall in that spectrum? I don't know, Brandy.
Night owl.
Okay.
Yeah. I am a night owl. I like to be up when nobody else is. I like to read books and then watch my Astros late into the evening. Sometimes I will take like sometimes I'll go to bed and then I'll still wake up and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm hungry. You might find me in the pantry. Um, I'm a forced early morning person. So it's not my favorite. It takes me a little bit to get going. And I plan about an hour and a half before I have to shower for me to like get functional. Like I'm not one of those people who can just jump into the shower like upon alarm going off. Like I need to ease into my day a little bit. Scroll
This
the socials, drink the coffee, all the things.
this is where we're different because and maybe it was because I worked mornings for so long. And so
Yeah.
my shift started at 2 a.m. and you're really trying to avoid getting up as long as possible. So my alarm would go off at 1. I would hop in the shower immediately, like zero thought process, like bed, shower, door in like 15 minutes. Um,
That's
so
impressive.
that's like trained that in me. I can roll right out of bed pretty quickly.
No, see, if you knocked on my door and you're like, hey, we're going on an adventure today. And I'm like, cool, you can come back in about an hour and a half or 2 hours and I will be ready for you. But
See,
until
more.
then, we can't do it. Yeah, so that is where we're different. But she
That's
has
okay.
training. I don't. I just have kids.
It's okay.
Like,
More ways where you guys balance each other out, right?
yes.
And then the final question, and you can both take it before we wrap up here, is what is your favorite thing about being a mom?
Do you want to take this? Or you want me to
I
jump
will let
in?
you go first.
I I think especially from my perspective now, again, they're 18 and 19. Seeing who I'm gonna get all weepy. Seeing who they become, and there are nuggets of that early on, right? And obviously you try to encourage the good and discourage the bad, but um I am just so proud of who they are. Like like I said, they're very different, two entirely different personalities, but they both make me so proud. I've got the overachiever in Alexis who got a 4.24 GPA her first year of college. I My GPA in college had those numbers not in that order necessarily. Um, but I'm just so impressed by her drive and motivation. And Kai has had to overcome a lot. And so I think what inspires me most about her is just her commitment to like always try to be better, to try to do what's right. She is my kid who loves with her whole heart on her sleeve. And the problem is it keeps getting ripped off. Um, and so just watching her tend to it and grow it back and love at that same strength again is incredible. So I know some parents are really early in this journey. I promise those little nuggets that you're seeing in them that you hope will continue with them, they will. You just have to keep encouraging it. And you will be so happy to see the adults they turn into.
Gosh, that was so sweet. Like that does encourage. I have a 9, almost 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. So that's totally speaking to me. Like I see them already and their personalities and their differences. And anyways, it's unfathomable to think about them like in the future as 18-year-olds. But anyways, you give me encouragement. Meagan, let's hear from you now.
That's hard to follow because I know both of those sweet girls and they are equal parts of their mama. In their like tenaciousness and their drive and their love and just their zest for life. They're so much Brandy and in each one of them, even being vastly different. It's kind of like they captured both in one. And so I think that I don't know what to say. I think my favorite thing about being a mom is the absolute privilege to be one. Um, I didn't know that it was going to happen for us. And I didn't know that everything that would follow would be as challenging and but as rewarding as it has been. But I take it as an immense privilege because it wasn't one that was granted for me. My family did in vitro. Um, there were a lot of shots. There were a lot of embryos and like eggs and things and you think of it like in the scientific way, and then all of a sudden you have two perfect little people who are like they're actually real live humans, and then you're entrusted, and so I think besides the emotional impact of just raising them is the confidence that I've found in myself to be a mom, because I think a lot of times we feel inadequate, we feel underprepared. There's no manual to be a mom. Um, but every time a challenge comes up, we meet it and then we go on to the next one. And it's given me this feeling of not accomplishment, but it's like I can actually do this. Like there's a reason that, and I believe in a higher power, there's a reason God entrusted me with these kiddos. And it's because I'm supposed to be their mom. I'm supposed to be the one fighting for them. I'm supposed to be their advocate. I'm supposed to be their friend when needed, their hard place, soft place to land after hard things, all of that. It's not without its challenges, but um, it's such a gift to myself personally. And then yes, to see them grow, and they're going into ninth grade. I have twins, for those who don't know, boy and a girl. Holy moly, they're going into ninth grade. We're going into high school. They have their driver's permits. I have to lean on so many things right now because there's so many changes. And a lot of times you will find me with just my head in my hands at the end of the day or the bed. I mean, we just take to the bed, Brady. But I can't wait to see who Ryan and Quinn end up being, and I'm seeing really large glimpses now of the humans they are. The glimpses get bigger, Jess. So like you're kind of seeing it in small time now, and then they grow bigger until you start to see like a fully formed, functioning, almost adult. And it's just a huge privilege. It's a joy to see that and witness and walk through. And I'm glad I'm here.
Gosh, I love that. And both of y'all's words, like, if that doesn't reinforce everybody following that Houston Moms is in wonderful hands that are full of such heart, I don't know what will. But yeah, no, like as somebody who's looking up to you guys and where you are in your motherhood journey, like I'm in awe and I'm excited and terrified of everything that's to come. But
That is the
having
right feeling.
That's accurate. That is what it is.
right, and I'm just like leaning into all the feelings, right? That's what I tell anybody that's expecting. I'm like, the thing that surprised me the most was just the depth. I was already a very feely person before, and then having the
Okay.
kiddos has just amplified everything, right? And but it's all in the most beautiful way, and having a community like Houston Moms to lean on through that. And the beauty is that we do have people from all ends of the spectrum, right? That have graduated their kids off and they're living on their own, to the ones who just birthed their maybe third, fourth, whatever, first baby ever. We've got contributors all over the map and it's beautiful. So thank you both for all the words today, all the encouragement. And I'm really excited for all the moves to come for Houston Moms with you two at the helm, along with Jared. Of course, we can't forget Jared.
Yeah.
But you two are for sure bringing that heart and we're excited to see what's to come. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for doing it, Jessica. This was so fun and a little tearful, but great.
Keep an eye out for next month. We'll have another Houston Moms on the Move for you all to enjoy. Till next time.